Hello, everyone. Welcome to Spanish Pod, and this is another newbie lesson of the day. My name is JP.
Hi, I'm Liliana.
Hi, Liliana. The title of our lesson is She's Not Mexican.
Exactly. Yes,
What is this about? She's not Mexican.
No, because maybe a lot of times we assume a person is this and that nationality. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So we're
okay.
going to talk a little about nationalities.
All right. So in the dialogue, probably somebody's going to get somebody's nationality wrong,
Yes.
and then they'll be corrected. Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Okay. Any words that you want us to listen for, just in case we don't hear Spanish well? You want us to zero in on a couple words?
Yes. The first one is ¿Cómo se llama?
¿Cómo se llama? ¿Cómo
Yes.
se llama? I know that. That means, that's a tough word to explain. In English, we'd say, what is his name or what's her name?
Yes.
Right.
In Spanish, ¿Cómo se llama? Is
What's his or her name?
exactly.
Right. Okay. We'll talk about the grammar of that funky little question later,
Okay.
because we just want to get to the dialogue now. I'm just dying to get to this dialogue. But for now, I want you to think that it means what's his name or what's her name.
¿Cómo se llama?
All right.
And the next keyword would be mexicana.
Mexicana. Mexicana. I know that. It means like a Mexican woman.
Yes, exactly. It's a Mexican,
Okay.
but feminine because
Okay.
it's a woman. Mexicana.
Okay. Mexicana. So Mexican woman or Mexican girl.
Exactly. If it's a Mexican man, you say mexicano.
Mexicano.
Yes.
All right. And our final keyword to listen for?
Guatemalteca.
Guatemalteca. Now, what in the world could that mean? That is it sounds so exotic.
I know.
What does it mean?
It's someone from Guatemala.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Also feminine.
Okay. Okay, so not Guatemalana or Guatemalense or Guatemaleña.
No. Guatemalteca.
Guatemalteca. All right, folks, so let's listen for these keywords. ¿Cómo se llama? Mexicana, and the last one again?
Guatemalteca.
And Guatemalteca. All right, listen for these three words. You're going to hear the dialogue 3 times.
Dialogue, first time.
¿Cómo se llama tu amiga mexicana?
Se llama Tatiana, pero no es mexicana, es guatemalteca,
¿De verdad? ¿De qué parte de Guatemala?
de Antigua. Second time.
¿Cómo se llama tu amiga mexicana?
Se llama Tatiana, pero no es mexicana, es guatemalteca,
¿De verdad? ¿De qué parte de Guatemala?
de Antigua. Third time.
¿Cómo se llama tu amiga mexicana?
Se llama Tatiana, pero no es mexicana, es guatemalteca,
¿De verdad? ¿De qué parte de Guatemala?
de Antigua.
All right, folks, that was the dialogue. Listen, if you understood it, that's great. If you didn't understand it, don't worry. That's why you're listening to this program, so we can help you through. All right, now Liliana and I are going to do a translation, and then afterwards we're going to break it down. All right, so let's do the translation now.
¿Cómo se llama tu amiga mexicana?
What is the name of your Mexican friend?
¿Cómo se llama tu amiga mexicana?
What is your Mexican friend's name?
¿Cómo se llama tu amiga mexicana? Se llama Tatiana, pero no es mexicana, es guatemalteca.
Her name is Tatiana, but she's not Mexican. She's Guatemalan.
Se llama Tatiana, pero no es mexicana, es guatemalteca.
Her name is Tatiana, but she's not Mexican. She's Guatemalan.
Se llama Tatiana, pero no es mexicana, es guatemalteca. ¿De verdad? ¿De qué parte de Guatemala?
Really? From what part of Guatemala?
¿De verdad? ¿De qué parte de Guatemala?
For real? Whereabouts in Guatemala?
¿De verdad? ¿De qué parte de Guatemala? De Antigua.
From Antigua.
De Antigua.
Antigua.
De Antigua.
All right. Now, this is kind of a tough newbie lesson, Liliana.
Yes, it is.
We're going to have to earn our paycheck today. This is a tough one. Now, we start with a sentence that, it's very important for newbies to know. What is somebody's name? And this one particularly means, what is your Mexican friend's name? And it sounds like this.
¿Cómo se llama tu amiga mexicana?
All right, let's get the easy part out of the way first. How do you say your Mexican friend?
Tu amiga mexicana.
Tu amiga mexicana. Now, which word means friend?
Amiga.
Amiga.
That's
Amiga.
right.
Okay, and that's a friend that is a female. It's a woman.
Yes.
Okay, or a girl. All right. How about Mexican?
Mexicana.
Mexicana.
Yes.
Okay, Mexicana. So, Mexican friend?
Amiga. Amiga mexicana.
Amiga Mexicana. Amiga Mexicana.
Mm-hmm.
How about your Mexican friend?
Tu amiga mexicana.
Okay, so tu amiga mexicana. And which word means your?
Tu.
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 Okay.
Yes.
Tu amiga mexicana.
Tu amiga mexicana.
All right. Okay, let's go to the part that's tricky, but I'm not tricky enough to be afraid of, just tricky to explain. How do you say, what is her name?
¿Cómo se llama?
¿Cómo se llama? Now, folks, if I translated this for you, it would come out something like, how does she call herself?
Yes.
How does she call herself? Which sounds not English at all, right? How does your Mexican friend call herself? All right. So just because I know some of you are curious, I'll go through these word for word. How do you say how?
¿Cómo? ¿Cómo?
Como. And then the rest of it, se llama. What is se llama?
Se llama is...
She's called. Okay,
Exactly.
she's called, or she calls herself. All right. Now, for those of you that need to be fed some grammar, the herself part is se, right? And then the called
Llama.
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 Okay. So literally, how does she call herself? And that's just how you ask somebody's name
Yes.
in Spanish. Okay. Say it one more time.
¿Cómo se llama?
¿Cómo se llama? I can just point to people, right, and ask their names. And
Yes.
you'll tell me.
Yeah, but you have to ask someone else. For example, you say, ¿Cómo se llama? But if you are asking to the person directly, you say, te.
Okay.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas? All right.
Yes.
I'm sure that's a lesson for another day. But ¿cómo se llama? ¿Cómo se llama? Okay, so how do we say, what is the name of your Mexican friend? Or how does your Mexican friend call herself?
¿Cómo se llama tu amiga mexicana?
All right. Excellent. Moving on. She calls herself Tatiana, or her name's Tatiana.
Se llama Tatiana.
Se llama Tatiana. And se llama just means she calls herself.
Yes,
All
her
right.
name is Tatiana.
Her name is Tatiana. Excellent. But she's not Mexican.
Pero no es mexicana.
All right. We already know that the word for Mexican is...
Mexicana.
Okay. She's not Mexican.
Pero no es mexicana.
Okay. No es mexicana. That pero, though, that pero is like but, right?
Yes,
But
but.
she's not Mexican.
But she's not Mexican.
Okay. No es mexicana. So, not. She is not. What's the not part?
No,
No.
no,
Okay. Is not. No es.
no es.
No es. All right. Okay, so one more time, the whole sentence. She calls herself Tatiana, but she's not Mexican.
Se llama Tatiana, pero no es mexicana.
Okay. She's Guatemalan.
Es guatemalteca.
Es guatemalteca. All right. Es guatemalteca. Now, the word guatemalteca, we already know means Guatemalan, right?
That's right.
She's Guatemalan. How do you say she's?
Es.
Es. Now,
Es.
that looks like one word.
Yes, it's
Okay,
one word.
it's one word. There's no. Where's the she part?
You can skip the she part.
You can skip that.
Yes.
All right.
You can, instead of saying ella es, we usually say short,
Es. Es guatemalteca.
Es guatemalteca.
All right. So one more time. She's Guatemalan.
Es guatemalteca.
Es guatemalteca. All right. Moving on. The friend replies, oh, really? Or for real?
¿De verdad? ¿De verdad?
De verdad. All right. Now that just means
Really?
really. Mm-hmm. Okay. It's two words, folks, but I don't want you to analyze those two words. Just take the whole chunk and say, de verdad.
¿De verdad?
Okay. Really? The next part is, from what part of Guatemala, or whereabouts in Guatemala?
¿De qué parte de Guatemala?
Okay. ¿De qué parte de Guatemala? Now, obviously, the word for Guatemala is
Guatemala.
Guatemala. Okay.
Guatemala.
How do you say what part?
¿De qué parte?
De qué parte? All right. Now, parte probably means part.
Part, yes.
Right. What part is probably qué parte?
¿De qué?
Oh, de qué. Now, that
Yes.
de.
De, that's from
Okay.
what. So, in a way, is from where?
Oh,
¿De
okay.
qué parte?
From what part?
Yes,
All
from
right.
what
From
part?
what part of Guatemala? So, how do you say of Guatemala?
De Guatemala.
Okay. So, let's take the whole sentence. From what part in Guatemala?
¿De qué parte de Guatemala?
¿De qué parte? Now, it sounds kind of funny for me to say, from what part of Guatemala? So I'd probably say, oh, where in Guatemala? Or I know some of my friends would say, whereabouts? Oh, and whereabouts in Guatemala? But I don't really say the word whereabouts. I don't know why. It's not part of my English. Anyway, moving on. From what part of Guatemala?
¿De qué parte de Guatemala?
Okay, and the answer is from Antigua.
De Antigua.
Okay, Antigua is a beautiful city in Guatemala. It's a beautiful, like, colonial city. And I actually spent a couple weeks there studying Spanish.
Really?
A few years ago, yeah. There was volcanoes all over the place, but there was one volcano in Antigua that was just towering over it. I think it's Volcán de Agua, it was called.
De verdad.
De verdad. Now, all right, so obviously the word for Antigua is?
Antigua.
All right, so what's the de Antigua?
From Antigua.
From Antigua.
De Antigua.
Okay, now, if somebody says, oh, what part of Guatemala, you want to say from Antigua.
Yes.
Now, if I was speaking English, I would just say, what part of Guatemala? Antigua. Can I just answer Antigua, or do I have to add the de?
No, you can answer just Antigua.
Okay.
But it's proper Spanish to say de Antigua.
Okay, from what part? From Antigua.
Yes.
Okay, so one more time, from Antigua?
De Antigua.
All right, now let's listen to that dialogue 3 more times, see if you can pick out any more of the gist of the meaning of this dialogue. Here we go.
Dialogue, first time.
¿Cómo se llama tu amiga mexicana?
Se llama Tatiana, pero no es mexicana, es guatemalteca,
¿De verdad? ¿De qué parte de Guatemala?
de Antigua.
Second time.
¿Cómo se llama tu amiga mexicana?
Se llama Tatiana, pero no es mexicana, es guatemalteca,
¿De verdad? ¿De qué parte de Guatemala?
de Antigua.
Third time.
¿Cómo se llama tu amiga mexicana?
Se llama Tatiana, pero no es mexicana, es guatemalteca,
¿De verdad? ¿De qué parte de Guatemala?
de Antigua.
All right, folks, so I hope you understood that lesson. And once again, the key words, if you want to go back and listen to it again, were como se llama, which is what is his name or what's her name. And then the words for Mexican and Guatemalan, right?
Right.
All right. So, Guatemalteca, is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Guatemalteca. Are you Guatemalteca?
No, mexicana.
Oh, you're Mexicana.
Yes.
Okay. So what are some other nationalities that we can use?
For example, Panama.
Panama. Mhm.
You say panameño.
Panameño.
Yes,
Okay.
with a ñ.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Panameño.
Panameño.
I like the way that sounds. Colombian. How do you say Colombian?
Colombiano.
Colombiano. Okay.
Colombiano.
Okay, one more. How about Brazilian?
Brasileño.
Brasileño.
Yes.
Okay. Someday I want to go to Brazil.
Oh, me too.
That's down the road, I think. Okay, what about me? What am I going to say about me? I'm American, so I'm going to say I'm Americano, right?
Yes, you can say americano.
You don't seem too convinced about that.
No, yes, you can say americano, but also you can say estadounidense.
Estadounidense. Estadounidense.
Yes.
Say it one more time because it's a long word.
Estadounidense.
Estadounidense. Estadounidense. Now
Estadounidense.
that means I'm United Statesese.
Yes.
Okay. And that's more proper, correct?
Yes, it's more proper.
All right. Great. Now that was a fascinating little lesson on nationalities and national words. Folks, if you want to see more nationality words, if you want to see this dialogue again in written form, if you want to do some exercises, if you want to collect the vocab, all of this stuff can be done on our website, which is SpanishPod.com. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, folks. For now, it's time for me and Liliana to say hasta luego.
Hasta luego.
The Spanish Pod Audio Review. Let's start with the vocabulary. How?
¿Cómo?
To be called.
Llamarse.
Mexican.
Mexicano.
But.
Pero.
Guatemalan.
Guatemalteco.
Really?
¿De verdad?
From what part?
¿De qué parte?
Now let's speed it up. Mexican.
Mexicano.
To be called.
Llamarse.
But.
Pero.
Really?
¿De verdad?
From what part?
¿De qué parte?
To be called.
Llamarse.
Guatemalan.
Guatemalteco.
Really?
¿De verdad?
Mexican.
Mexicano.
To be called.
Llamarse.
Really?
¿De verdad?
But.
Pero.
How?
¿Cómo?
Guatemalan.
Guatemalteco.
How?
¿Cómo?
Now try to use these words in context.
¿Cómo?
I don't know how to get there.
No sé cómo llegar.
Mexicano.
El taco es una comida mexicana típica.
Llamarse.
My name is Lola.
Me llamo Lola.
¿Cómo?
I don't know how to get there.
No sé cómo llegar.
Mexicano.
El taco es una comida mexicana típica.
Llamarse.
My name is Lola.
Me llamo Lola.